This guitar right here is a 1980 Takamine EF-340 Acoustic. If you're looking to get into a Martin acoustic but not pay the big Martin price, stick around and I'm going to teach you about the lawsuit era of Takamine guitars. Alright everybody, we got the Takamine sitting on the kitchen table ready to be reviewed. I want to give a little background history on the company of Takamine just so we know what we're all talking about here. So in 1962, Takamine was formed in Japan by a small group of luthiers. They started out by making classical nylon string guitars, and guitar playing was getting more popular in Japan in the 60s. And they did that all up until about the early 70s when the president of the company wanted to take the company to more of a global scale and get their guitars out there to a larger market. So in the early 70s, their idea was, let's copy American guitars, and that's exactly what we're looking at. This is pretty much a direct copy of a D18 Martin Dreadnought, and they did a pretty darn good job copying it. There's some construction differences that we're going to talk about that sets them apart. But once you start looking at these things up close, I mean, they really did a close job making it to a Martin. And ultimately, that's why they had to stop, because they were getting threatened with lawsuits. So yeah, they in the mid-70s until about 1984, you can find these Takamine guitars, and they did the D18, the D28, the triple O's, all different models of Martin guitars they were doing copies of. And they weren't the only company to do this during this time period. Yamaha, Ibanez, and a bunch of other companies, they were copying electric guitars, specifically Gibsons, Stratocasters. I mean, anything they could copy, they were doing. And they got away with it for almost a decade. So we'll talk a little bit more about how that ended towards the end of the video, but let's hop in and take a look at the specs on this guitar. Alright, so this guitar was copied after a Martin D18 Dreadnought. You can see that the body shape and the construction of it is almost identical to how a D18 is made. Talking about our woods here, we got a solid spruce top, and if you look within this body cavity, it's going to be hard to focus, but they stamped it just like how Martin did their guitars. That's like stamped into the wood there, and the S on the end of the 340 there stands for solid spruce top. And then I'm not going to be able to get it, but the serial number is located, it's right down in here, and then you have your 9-volt battery for your pickup. So anyways, back to the construction. It's a solid spruce top acoustic, and then the sides in the back of the neck, the sides in the back are laminated mahogany, which is one construction difference from a Martin, is that a Martin's going to be solid sides and back, but this is a budget model guitar, so they laminated it because it's cheaper. Moving on to the neck here, we do have a true rosewood fretboard, which is very nice. That's hard to even find these days. We got 20 frets in total. 14 of them are free of the body, and then the rest are within your body. Let's see, what else? I got a list here, and I'm not afraid to say it. So the nut width is 1 and 11/16, which is just like a D18, and then we have a 25 1/4 inch scale length. So they copied that right to a T. Your bridge, I'm not sure if the bridge is made of rosewood or mahogany. It's kind of hard to tell, but very nice recreation of it. Moving on to the headstock, we can see the script, which is a total ripoff of Martin. I mean, the coloring and the font of it is really what makes these stand out to look like a Martin. They got the squared off headstock design. That's something that they had to stop doing, and they had to change up their script. They started doing it this way and changed the font of it, but the tuners on this are sealed chrome plated tuners. I'm assuming they're Godos, being the time frame and that this is a Japanese made guitar. I don't know that to be a fact, but that's what I'm assuming. There's no branding on them. They're kind of middle of the road. They're not great and they're not that bad. They get the job done for what they're trying to do. So, but yeah, let's take a look at that headstock and fretboard. This guitar is 45 years old and it has aged and has that patinaed look to it. The top is kind of ambered over and you can really see she's been around a few campfires, you might say. But you almost got a little bit of a flamey type effect in that spruce top there, which is cool. And she's got some dings and some battle scars, but it's 45 years old, so what do you expect? But moving on, so this guitar is cool in the fact that it was the first acoustic guitar to feature an onboard pickup or a piezo pickup. They called this a palithetic pickup system. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's what it says. So this is your preamp adjustments here. Camera's having a hell of a time. So you got your EQ and your gain. Pretty simple stuff. And then you have 6 piezo pickups under each bridge pin, or under the bridge for each string. So this guitar, cool enough, the electronics are working fine in it, so I can still plug it in and play it. You know, in 1980, these were actually top of the line electronics and they were the first to do it, which is actually pretty cool. I didn't know that about this guitar. And then where you plug it in is through your strap button right there. So these guitars are great. You can get these from anywhere $200 to $500 on the used market. If you look on Reverb and online sales, some people think they're sitting on gold and they have them priced really high and they've been for sale for 3 years because, well, it's not a Martin. It's a ripoff of a Martin. But they're great playing guitars. They sound pretty good. And if you don't have all the money to go out and get, you know, an actual Martin Dreadnought, you can pick these up. They're not that hard to find and they're still pretty reasonably priced if you find them in a music store. So they're kind of a hidden gem. You know, I've played this out on a few gigs and people are like, you know, you pull it out of the case and they're like, oh, nice Martin. And then they kind of do a double take and they see this, and I've been asked about it multiple times on what it is. But couple of things to watch out for. This is a vintage acoustic at this point. You want to make sure your bridge isn't lifting. That's going to give you some pretty major problems. You can see this one's still good. You're going to want to look inside the body cavity the best you can, and I can't get it on video, but underneath and down here, you're going to want to make sure that your bracing is all still intact. That's very important. And then probably the most important thing is you're going to want to make sure that this guitar, or the one you're looking at, does not need a neck reset. Being that it's a vintage acoustic, there's a good chance that it's going to need that. This one, you can see, does not. A telltale sign of one of these needing a neck reset is going to be that the strings are about a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch off the fretboard. And what that is over time, the tension on an acoustic guitar, it pulls at the neck joint and it starts to separate the neck from the body. It's just what they do. Every guitar does it. So something to watch out for. If you find one that needs a neck reset, my advice is that repair is going to cost more than the actual value of the guitar. I had another one of these Takamines. It was a 1978, I believe, or 76. And when I went to buy it, I immediately knew it needed a neck reset. I met up with this guy, and like I said, the strings were like 3/4 of an inch off the fretboard. At that point, I was like, hey man, this thing's a wall hanger at this point. I'll give you $100. And that's exactly what it is, a wall hanger. So just something to be aware of if they need the neck reset. That's a very involved job on an old acoustic, and every brand is different on how you have to go about doing them. So just something to be aware of. So I think I pretty much covered everything in here of all the specs on it. So we're going to sit down. I'm going to plug it into my Acoustasonic. I'll play it unplugged as well so you can hear the volume of it. And we're going to wrap this video up for you guys. So let's move on. Alright, a couple things I forgot to add in the first clip there. I want to mention that the neck construction is solid mahogany, just like a Martin, and the fretboard radius is 12 inch, and that's going to differ from the 16 inch radius that's flatter than a Martin. So just wanted to add that. And then the serial number, I want to try to get this on camera because this is useful. Alright, so those first two numbers, 80, that stands for 1980, and they stick with that system for all these lawsuit guitars. So if you're looking to date one of these, the first two numbers are your year. So just wanted to add that clip in for you guys. Alright everybody, we got the Takamine. I'm going to run it through my Acoustasonic Junior. I've got a little touch of reverb on it, no chorus or anything like that. The pickups are a little scratchy in this. I need to clean them. I haven't had it plugged in a while, so let's get on to this playing demo. pretty good sounding guitar for $275. So I'm going to turn the amp off now and do a little unplug so you can get an idea of just the acoustic. And then we're going to wrap up with a conclusion. So let's see my best Eagles impression. Alright folks, that is the Takamine EF-340S for solid top. Great guitar for the money. Like I said, you can get into these from $200 to $500, and I wouldn't suggest paying any more than $500. The point of these things is they're budget model Martin guitars. And at this point, you know, this one's 45 years old. So, and I just want to say, I'm not trying to, you know, brag this thing up to be better than a real Martin. I understand that those guitars are very special. There's something there that I don't think anybody can rip off. If it's not made in Nazareth, PA, it's not a real Martin. But the point of this is for the players out there that are on a budget, that are, you know, working, playing gigs at night like I am, this can get you really close for a fraction of the cost. So, and played through, I paid $100 for this Acoustic amp. You know, it's an early 2000s model. You throw a little reverb on, you do the onboard chorus on there, and you got a great sounding guitar. Or you can just DI into the soundboard at your gig. So, yeah, guys, I just wanted to show these cool guitars to you, and I'm the type of person that if you can save some money here and there and still get a quality instrument. It's my dog whining because I got her on a leash. Golden Retrievers. Sorry, I digress. If you can get something that gets you there for a fraction of the price, it's totally worth it. So you guys, go to your local music store, look on Facebook Marketplace, see if you can track one of these things down. You're not going to be in a lot of money, and you're going to have a fun guitar. So, all right, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.